Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to talk about how to actually create print that looks like these. I call these the modern print, and we've broken it down into basic strokes. So from the last couple of YouTube videos, we were working on some of the basic drills. The first one was like basic drill for a circle. And then we did a basic drill for ascending and descending line, making them a box and a half high. And the third drills was the overturn and the underturn. And the key thing with this one was every width was actually half of the height, half of the width. And finally, the last one is the basics drill for a downstroke. Do these lines look familiar to you? You probably have been using these grid line to assist you when you were in kindergarten learning how to do your print first. And if you're parents, some of you probably would have bought copying book for your kids to be doing their letters on the line to make sure that they're learning. And today we're going to actually define what makes the difference between what you have been using since you were a kid versus now that you're wanting to do this thing called the modern print. Take a look at the line. We got the ascent line, mean, base, and descent line. Your letters sit on this line. Most of your letters sit on the base. And if you can see, do you see the equal distance? I've made them all the same grid as equal distance from each other. They're each one box long. These are the traditional way of writing when we were in kindergarten. We were taught that, you know, with a letter, say if I actually want to spell the word kindergarten, I write it on this line. We have been taught to write our ascent up this way, okay? And notice that the height is really big from before. And if we go underneath, we make the equal height at the bottom. And this is probably the traditional way that we all have been used to be writing like that. So how has things changed now that you wanted to do a modern print? Okay, so let's do our baseline. This is my baseline. I'm going to use a red pen. And the mean line actually is still going to be one grid tall. But notice the difference now. Instead of doing my ascent line all the way to the second, to the next box up, we're going to exaggerate it. I'm going to start with half. Some people even have it less, so I'm actually going to do my ascent line only half of the grid above, and the descent line, instead of going all the way down with one box like the kindergarten font, we're going to just make it half like this. Okay? You would be surprised how the structure would change. Okay? I'm going to write the word modern print on here and you'll know the difference. Okay? So notice that just a minor change. See how I don't go all the way down to the bottom. I keep my circle as almost like one width of the circle. See the difference in terms of style and the feel? All you have done is adjust the ascent line down this way and your descent line that way, and you've significantly change the feel of your font already. Like sometimes people call these the Studygram, the modern print, but the key thing is just changing a slight structure of it. So now we're gonna take the time and just review some of the basic stroke. I'm still going to do the same lines just as a grid, so I'm gonna still do my baseline, the mean, okay, the grid height has been 1 because if you remember my practice, I've been trying to get you to do the 1 grid. There will be variation later on, but at this point I still want you to use your grid paper until you get really comfortable with it. And then half above the accent, and then half below. Alright, so I'm going to zoom in a little bit so you can see clearly. Okay, start with this circle. Remember how I said the circles were one full box, right? So it's a complete circle with the full box, and that's what we're going to try to do. Spacings we still need to talk about later on. At this point, I'm just going to leave a full gap, but realistically, when you're doing a real print job, you're not going to be leaving one full space. But just because we want to take advantage of the grid being able to have the equal width and height, we're going to use that as a guideline. But eventually you're not, because you're not going to be writing on grid paper all the time, right? Okay, so remember, full circle, so full width, full height, equal width and equal height is what we're targeting for the main part of the body, sitting right on the baseline. Okay, ascending and descending line, what we do is we were suggesting that you would be half above or half below. So we got a full line here and a half below. Are you seeing the letter F and the letter G? So that's kind of the thing that we're getting at. The key point is the half above is what I need you to get used to, and the half below if we ever need to go to the ascent line and the descent line. Don't make them too big like the kindergarten print. We don't want it all the way up to the top. Okay, so the other thing now is the overturn and the underturn. To be honest, these fonts are personal style. So I prefer to make the overturn and underturn half a box, because if I actually bring in my grid, I'm not sure if you're seeing my letter M, I have them half and half, but I have a super small N. Some people can choose to write a full box. That's personal preference and it's personal style. I like mine, every single one of them, to be half a box. But as I said, that's personal style. You can change that, because that's basically what font is. It's a variation of the different width and the different height. So keep in mind, my personal style, I like it half. So that's why when I do my overturn and my underturn, I was suggesting you to be doing half a box, right? Right? So now downstroke. So downstrokes kind of come together with the letter B, the letter A has it, the letter D has it. So anything that has a straight down, notice the height is half again, right? So that's why the drill that we were doing is you either do one full box or half a box above. So that was the 1.5, or half a box below. Why are these drills important? Because I need you to get used to not writing it all the way up to the top when you're trying to complete your printing of the alphabet. Okay, now let's see if we can put it all together and see if we can get this modern print go. Okay, so let's put it all together. I'm gonna be talking about spacing as well. So letter A is a circle with a downstroke that is completely one square. Letter B, remember, we need the grid line to be half, right? So half line, 1.5 downstroke with the circle. C is almost a circle, but almost just not closing it off. D, it's a circle with a 1.5 downstroke. E, almost a circle with a line in the middle. Now F is the one that with the ascend turn down. So I'm going to do the letter F. Letter G, circle with a 1.5 half. $1.5 down for the H, and then now this is the half overturn, the one that we were talking about up here, the 1.5. So watch the 1.5. Notice that same thing as I said, it's a personal style. Okay, I, just one full grid with a dot. J is a downstroke, a descending turn, so remember half of it. Letter K, 1.5. Now the M, I would do a downstroke, an overturn, and then another overturn, and another overturn. But remember, this is personal style. Some people like to write it all the way. Like some people like to write it like this. It's up to you, right? Okay, O is a simple circle. P is a 1.5, like a downstroke that is lower with the circle. Q is a circle, but on the other side, on the right hand side, is the 1.5. R is a downstroke. It's a weird one. It's almost like half of the overturn, but I still only do half of it. Okay, S, I don't have a rule for S. Just keep it width as 1 and the height as 1 as well, like inside the box. T, I personally like it a half with a 1.5 down. That's just the way I do it. U, half a box again. V, half a box again. W, 2 half a box, making 1. X, 1 by 1. Y is half with the half again. And then a Z, a complete 1 by 1. Okay, let's bring it forward. Okay, so this is kind of my way of doing it, and many different variations. To be honest with you, I kind of lied to you. My F don't really look like that when I actually do it at full print, because in reality, you're not going to be printing your base like that, and in reality, you're not going to be writing in grid paper. So the next part that I'm going to cover is we're going to do it in line paper. Okay, and within line paper, you're going to have to think, how far do you want your base and your mean, and how far do you want it to be apart? And I'm going to show you kind of like my mental process next, okay? Have you seen these notebooks before? I'm from Canada, right? And they are from Dollarama, and they were like $1.25 or something like that. I like writing with them because I like the spacing. I don't know if you've seen this 9 Ways to Letter in March, but if you can take a look at the spacing of the lines are in general thicker than the lines that we used to on regular line paper. I just find that gives me a bit more room to play, especially if I want to go into the detail. I don't know if you remember me showing you the challenge. I was asking you to do the challenge of doing circles within, and I'm asking you to kind of make the circle almost about half a box thick. Okay, so I'm going to put them all together and show you how we would do it on the modern print on these line paper thing. I'm going to zoom in a bit so you can see it clearly. Okay, so you got this line there, and I don't know if you were involved. I know some of you are like watching my YouTube, but some of you have been following me on Instagram for a bit. I was asking you if you write on the line or if you write in between the line. I used to write on the line, but now I write in between the line, especially with the modern print. That's just what I'm used to. Just because if you think back to the lesson that I was teaching just now about the baseline and the mean and all those stuff, it's easier if you write in between the line. Okay, because you can actually think about it. I'm going to draw my grid here. Okay, I will not be drawing the grid all the time, but I think at the beginning, even on line paper, maybe it is a good idea to draw the grid down. Okay, so if I were to use this line, if I write in between the line, I'm going to put my grid somewhere like that, and keeping my ascending and descending line. I don't know if you agree with this or not, but this really is, as I said, personal preference. It might not be right on the line. It'll be slightly off the line, but keeping it fairly small. Okay, like you can see clearly, notice how I'm drawing the grid. And this grid will be in your head when you're trying to be doing these lettering, right? So let's see if we can fit it in between the grid and show you what I mean by that. Okay, so remember, your circle is a full width. You can have downstroke that are 1 or 1.5, and you can have half of the overturn and the underturn, half of the grid, and you can also have the ascending descending turn that's a full width but only half of the height. Okay, so those are our basic stroke. So let's see if we can fit it in the line right here. See how that's a lot more realistic. And I'm not going to have the spacing all one full grid because that's not realistic. Some people suggest that you can actually put the spacing using like a toothpick or something like that. But I'm just going to eyeball it. I'm going to leave a reasonable space. And we're going to write the basic stroke down and building it just like what we did just now. Circle width. Circle width. Going up to the ascent line. Okay, this is half, right? Remember, my overturn is half. Half of it. Okay, I'm going to finish up the rest of the alphabet using the line at the bottom without the grid. But you need to get used to the width of it. You need to get used to the height of it. Is it an exact science? No. But if you want your handwriting to be nice and neat, all you have to know is to keep the width consistent. All you have to know is don't stick your stick too high up or don't go your curve too far down. And if you're able to try to keep that consistent, that's basically what handwriting is, right? Having a nice handwriting. So I hope this lesson gives you a general idea, not only just to do modern print, because if you want to talk about variety, I really like to go off topic all the time. If you want any variations of your font, all you have to do is change up the width. Say for examples, if I want to challenge you and say, hey, don't make your width one full width, make your width 1/2. If I make it an oval shape, your font actually all of a sudden will look different. I'm not going to do all the alphabet because this video will be getting way too long. But all I did is I'm keeping the same height. I'm keeping the same distance of the mean of the lines, but I'm just making my font half the width. Is this cute? I thought this font is pretty cute too, right? And that's personal preference. And when I get into like bullet journaling or Bible journaling, I like to have kind of different groups of sections of the font, all in different kinds of fonts, slightly different from one another. Slanted a little bit, maybe. Do you see that? And there are many different ways, and eventually you'll find your own style. I know that when you first start off, your letter might look exactly like mine, and which is okay. But eventually, you find something that you like. There is a certain way you do your curve. There is a certain way you do your swift. That's personal style, and it will come to you when you get more and more practice. And thank you so much for watching this video. This is the first time I've ever really done this kind of, live thing that I'm not doing voiceover. I'm teaching. Hopefully you find it helpful. And if there's any questions of like, say, different kind of font you want to learn or other things that you wanted me to cover, leave your comment below. I would love to go through different things with you. You know what? I'm stuck at home for 3 weeks with no school because of the coronavirus. I might as well be teaching, right? So hope you enjoyed the video. If you do like the video, don't forget to press like, subscribe to my channel, and share it. It will really help me grow. As you know, I'm just beginning to do this YouTube thing, and yeah, so hopefully let me know what you want to learn, and hopefully a new video will be coming soon. All right, thank you so much for watching.